Oh boy, I can tell just from the save file thumbnail that we left off in just a harrowing position. I'm sure our boy Takumi Nishijo is going to be very, very calm, cool, and collected about a pink-haired girl being in his shipping container. Let's find out. Immediately, she was a murderer. Just solid assumption, I guess. She'd used Yua and Shogun to try and set me up, and now she was here to kill me herself. Yeah, can't you tell? Look at that face. It's the face of a killer. This is the skin of a murderer, Bella. I couldn't let myself believe her. I'd learned my lesson with Yua. I'd never make the same mistake again. I didn't take the hand she offered me. Just bite the hand that feeds you. Just stay down on your days. I couldn't let her smile fool me. It was demonic temptation. And if I gave into it, I'd die. Don't believe in anything. Don't listen to anything anyone says. Oh yeah, that's what his stupid little figurine told him. Oh no! What is this? She's throwing up the horns! What is that pose? Ta-ha-ha, did you hear that shit? What is that? What is she doing here? Like the other 4 times. She should. Just whip out. I know you got one of them swords. Just pull it out, jam it right into his gut. Yeah, they're in the car outside. Get in, loser. We're going shopping. Maybe the 3 of them are going to work together and kill me when I was helpless. And that's all the time. When are you not helpless? What a wonderful moment of just not getting it. I knew it. Uh-oh, she looks angry. Death is moments away. Let you go where? You live here. She kept calling me Taku, like we were friends. Yeah, we're not friends. How did she know my name anyway? She'd know my name when we first met at the scene of the crucified killing. How? And how did she know where the base was? Yeah, live in a shipping container on the roof. How was anybody able to find something like that? Oh, reveal time. She read my mind. She had magic, clairvoyant powers, I knew it. That's how she found my name and address. Oh, is that the reveal? That he's been speaking out loud this whole time? That would be pretty great. My inner monologue has never been inner. Always? Since when was always? Wait, was I talking to myself? I couldn't tell. Really? Was I really talking to myself? Or was it possible she was lying? Was it possible she read my mind? Aw. Friend? Friends? I thought she said we were the enemy. That's what I heard. Ed? Oh no, she's calling her a baka. That's fair. No one likes to be called stupid. Was she crazy? Wait, how could I be sure she was the crazy one? Was I crazy? Or was she? Well, you know, in situations like this, ¿Por qué no los dos? Oh, there is a transfer student coming. Thank God. Always love that. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Yua? Is it going to be the rock star girl? Or is it going to be someone else entirely? Which one of the 4 characters in this story is it going to be? We were talking past each other. The fear that I could be killed at any moment was starting to fade. But instead, another type of fear was slowly working its way through my heart. I don't believe you. You're going to have to get on that explanation real quick. Who are you? She was a murderer. The demon girl. He shows up 2.5 times a week. You can't expect him to know anybody. We're classmates? Not just friends, but classmates. Wait a minute. Shouldn't that be the other way around? We're friends, not just classmates, but friends? That's probably what that should be. Yeah, oh well. Fuck it. Who cares? That's true. I sure did. Please repeat it. First, middle, last, social security number, credit card information, blood type, the other stuff we can leave out. Oh, look at her. She looks so sad. Sakihata Rimi. Now you know the demon girl's name. Sakihata Rimi. Now say it slower. Half a syllable at a time, please. I never even heard the name Rimi Sakihata before. The only 3D girl I knew who would talk to me like this was Yua anyway. And Yua worked for her. I mean, according to you. In a flash, I suddenly understood. This Sakihata girl was using the same trick Yua had used. She was being all friendly, knowing that I wasn't used to talking to 3D girls. And then she'd set me up for a trap. Of course, I don't remember the faces of all my classmates, and I wasn't interested in trying, but I was sure I'd never seen her in my class. Wasn't I? Listen, I feel like when you have a school full of background characters, anybody who shows up with pink hair, instantly recognizable. I couldn't be sure. Every minute I spent at school, I spent at my desk, either enjoying delusions while pretending to sleep, or you were pretending to sleep, or staring at the desk, or pretending to read a textbook. You just pretend to go. I don't remember any of my classmates' names. I'd never cared enough to. Which was it? Which was it? Was what this girl was what this girl was saying true? No, it didn't matter whether or not she was a classmate. The one thing I was sure of was that she was a murderer. Like, what is it that all these women see in him? You know, like, even if the end twist of this is like he is important to the everything that's going on somehow, they must all be repulsed being in his presence, right? Daichin? Who's that? Daichin? What the hell was that? A person's name? Some kind of code? A demon spell? Oh no, the one person whose name I do know. Shit. She knew Misumi's name, and she called him Daichin? You wouldn't do that unless you were pretty friendly with him. The demon girl found my phone on the sofa and picked it up, offering it to me. She wanted me to call Misumi, maybe. I didn't like calling people. But if I didn't do it, she might kill me. Helplessly, I decided to call him, but I realized I didn't know Misumi's phone number. I froze. The demon girl seemed confused before going around to my side and looking over at the phone. Her hair rustled a little, and I could smell the sweet scent of her shampoo. Creep. She was a demon. Couldn't let her foul temptress. I wasn't into 3D girls. Satan, give me power. No, you should be happy he knows how to tie his shoes. I don't think this guy is capable of much. Don't you gomen to him. He doesn't deserve that. She apologized and took the phone away from my hand. For a moment, our fingers touched. She was warm. I guess even if she's a demon. She had the same blood in her veins as a human. As far as temperature goes, it could be blue for all you know. She quickly tapped in the number. Yeah, some tapped alright. From the speed she typed it in at, it had to be one she knew well. Nope, it doesn't. You send your ass straight to voicemail. She offered me the phone. I didn't know what to do. Oh my god. This guy. Listen, I know not everybody had phones in 2008, but for fuck's sake. I could hear the sound of the ringing, but then the sound cut off, and instead I heard Misumi's voice. Wah! Oh. Someone answered. The person on the phone didn't give their name. They must have been somewhere downtown because I could hear the hustle and bustle of a crowd around them. I really hated phone calls. I couldn't be sure if I was even talking to Misumi. The voice sounded similar, but maybe slightly different. Like, I want to make fun of this guy, not because he's anxious talking on the phone, because that's like a real thing, but he's also just like a vicious fucking loser. She was staring at me menacingly, this time right in front of me. Damn it. Why did she have to be so close? All I could smell was nice shampoo. I hated it. I want to smell like week old spunk and garbage. Like my shitty fucking storage container that I lived in. Oh, was it just me, or was Misumi acting weird? How had he known it was me so quickly? All I did was say Nishi. Yeah, bought a phone. No, I'm calling you. No, I guess you could call people from phones that aren't yours. Never mind. Joke aborted. It was possible that she was just having me call somebody with a voice similar to his to fool me. The person with the Misumi-like voice was working for her, maybe, and trying to trick me. Maybe the demon girl knew that I didn't have Misumi's real number and set this up from the start. I was starting to get suspicious of everything. I didn't know what was the truth and what was a lie. Assuming the demon girl was willing to put in the time and effort to set up a trap like that, what kind of trap was it specifically? Wouldn't it be faster for her to just kill me here? Yes. Yeah, why go through all the trouble of having you call a doppelganger of your friend? Like, what? Like, what are we doing here, buddy? Or was there some reason that I had to be deceived, even if it meant doing so in a really roundabout way? This is how people fall into goof fucking conspiracies, by the way. Exactly this type of shit. It doesn't matter how outlandish it is, you just convince yourself it's happening. Could it be some kind of trick that Misumi says he's just jumping from one to the other? Fucking goddamn, Evel Knievel couldn't make these leaps. This girl was his girlfriend, and not a classmate at all, but someone he'd sent just to make fun of me. Like, come on, we all met this Misumi guy. Do you really think he's in any type of stable partnership? Come on. No, wait, not a chance. How would you explain the crucified murder? That's the part that's difficult to explain. Wait a minute, if he had a girlfriend, how could a murder have happened? Ugh, I hate all of these people. Certainly sounded like Misumi. The more I heard him talk, the less likely it seemed that the person I was talking to could be anybody but Misumi. Yeah, please. Teach me your ways, oh documented failure. No, of course not. I wasn't sure where to start. I could feel someone looking at me from behind me. The girl was staring at me. And the prickling on the back of my neck was still there. What was the look on her face now? I wanted to look back and see, but I was too scared. Yeah, ain't no way. Like you know this guy in real life. Obviously you know he cannot talk to people. Like, this Misumi guy is a shit friend, I assume, but I mean, even as a shit friend, you'd be like, alright, talking to this guy is a fucking chore. I gotta be prepared for it. I can't listen to this. This is brutal, dude. I was stammering really badly, but I finally managed to explain to him. He suddenly fell silent. There was no answer, but I could still hear the bustle of the crowd, so he hadn't hung up. Why wasn't he answering? I heard a massive sigh. Video games can't break your brain, Misumi. That's a common misconception. Look at me, I'm playing Chaos Head right now, and my brain is doing great. What was he talking about? And anyway, it wasn't true that video games damaged your brain. It took me a second, because you said Sakihata, her last name. You're talking about Rimi, right? Oh, he's talking, yeah. What? Why? Ugh, 3D girls. I can't stand just that term. Just them referring to women as 3D girls. Just She's the only girl in your class with pink fucking hair, dude. Come on. I couldn't grasp what this Misumi-like person was saying. The demon girl and I had been in the same class the whole time. The three of us went to see a movie the other day. When was the other day? 6 years ago. My life is a teenage delusion here. Jesus Christ. I'm a bit of a weirdo, or whatever it is he says in Riverdale. So I'm a bit weird. I wear a hat. I'm a knucklehead. The only people in the whole wide world who actually care about you are me and her. Oh, damn. That's a brutal thing to say to someone. Hey, listen, man, I know you ain't got no friends. There's only 2 people in the world that care about you, and that is the main trio. Ha ha. Egads. Not a single one of those words coming through the phone felt real. How could they? None of the things he was describing existed in my memories. I couldn't accept that they'd ever happened. What this Misumi-like person was telling me wasn't true. It wasn't real. If something really happened, you'd remember it. Oh, she's so unladylike. Yeah, what with her wearing a skirt and having a very feminine aura to her, she's just not ladylike. In these kind of games, that just means she says rude things or burps. Yeah, it's that ESO. Couldn't take any more, so I hung up the phone. How dare he blame my daily gaming habits for my difficulties in other areas. It's just inconceivable. Ha ha ha. I suddenly realized I was having trouble breathing. The sweat coming off my brow showed no signs of stopping, just spraying everywhere. If anything, it was getting worse. I could feel it dripping off me and landing on the ground below. Yuck. Taku, you nasty. The demon girl looked genuinely worried as she handed me a handkerchief. Oh, thanks. I'm gonna just get this nice and fucking waterlogged for you. Take that home as a memento. It was a cute red one with no pattern on it. The handkerchief had a slightly floral scent. Not no more, it don't. I didn't take it. Ah, you bitch. Instead, I tried to get straight in my head. What is going on? It didn't work, though. I just started getting suspicious of everything. He said, you ain't a lady. You're nothing but a... Wait. You ain't a lady. You're nothing but a sister. Oh, fucked up my reference. I know. That's what's going to get me ruined on YouTube forever. The random part 7 or whatever this is of a Chaos Head Let's Play where I bungled an Aristocats. Oh my god, I'm just fucking up. Where I bungled an Aristocats reference. She gave a slightly disappointed sigh as she put away the handkerchief. Then she took on a victor's smile. It was as if she'd known the answer from the start. I didn't have the strength to answer her. Who was this woman? Just my classmate? Or a monster? I didn't know. Maybe I was just crazy. Thinking back to my chat with Shogun, I couldn't be sure that somebody wasn't controlling my body. Or maybe there was some kind of accident that took my memories of this Rimi Sakihata girl away from me and left my other memories intact. What the hell is wrong with me? My mom and dad weren't perfect. Still, you don't hear no crying ass bitching for me like there seems to be on everybody's CD. Amnesia? Sleepwalking? Something else? Oh, hell yeah, Daijobu. It's never Daijobu. I'll go with you. The demon girl... The demon girl spoke kind words to me. I needed to be especially careful around anyone who said kind words to me. Anybody who'd be nice to a creepy otaku like me definitely had some kind of ulterior motive. Maybe that should be an indication to stop being a creepy otaku. I shook my head no, and then forced myself to look up. The sweat got in my eyes, made my vision blurry. This dude is just fucking pouring. He must... The sheen on this man must be high gloss. Her face was closer than I thought it would be. What color were her eyes? Pink. Like everything else about her. Why? Oh, Rimi Sakihata. Why? Why are you here? I remember, you did a lot. You shouldn't have been worried. You should have been grateful. Like, oh, maybe this was it. Maybe this is what finally did this a-hole in. I didn't mean why were you able to get inside. What was she even doing here? If she came here to kill me, why wasn't she doing anything? Her hand went to her bag. She took out a handout. It was a gun. You think this guy's fucking graduating? Ain't no way. I took it from her. It said post-graduation plans with 3 blocks below for first preference, second preference, and third preference. Was that really it? Was that the only reason? The only reason I'm giving you your handouts is because the voices were pretty good. Go away. I don't want anything to do with her. It was a terrible idea to get involved with 3D girls. This was some kind of trap. Don't listen to her. This isn't real. This is a video game. A really buggy game. A really shitty one. And all these weird plot contradictions. Doesn't make any sense as a story. How did anybody ever become friends with this fucking guy? And if you're not here to kill me, then just go away. That's what I say to everybody I meet. You know, anybody who's come in, like, hey, I'm here to deliver your Domino's pizza. If you're not here to kill me, then just go away. I'm me, not somebody else. Maybe some other me was friends with Rimi Sakihara, but that had nothing to do with the real me. This is the real me. I put my head in my hands and closed my heart to the outside world. I shivered, trying to imagine a delusion where the girl named Rimi Sakihata wasn't in my room. I soon heard the sound of the door opening, which told me that the demon girl had left. He's just sitting there hugging himself in the middle of the room with his eyes closed, just like, go away, go away, go away. And she's just like, fuck, I can't deal with this guy. The only light in the dark room was the pale blue glow of the monitor. That's white. This, what I got, that's pale blue. It was a screensaver featuring, oh my gosh, it's Seira, no way, a character from Bloodtoon the animation. Oh, thank you for that update, I had no idea. Rimi Sakihara had been here in this container house just half a day ago, but now its only occupant was its owner, Takumi Nishijo. It was getting close to 5 a.m. Takumi's daily life. Oh, is this third person now? He's not just talking in the third person about himself. Takumi's daily life revolved around playing video games until dawn and then passing out on the sofa. Right now, he was curled up in a cramped position on the sofa. He didn't sleep on the bed. He had one, but he didn't sleep in it because it was piled too high with CDs and manga volumes. At first, he'd just been too lazy to clean it off, and then, at some point, it began to function as a storage shelf. Ever since then, he'd been sleeping on the 2-person sofa. Ugh. An awful moan slipped from Takumi's lips. His body was soaked with sweat. No shit. And his eyelids were twitching. He might have been having a nightmare. His expression warped with pain. He kept tossing and turning as he lay there, almost falling off. Suddenly his eyes opened wide, and he stared at the ceiling. His eyes were bloodshot, and the eyeballs themselves seemed to be twitching a little. He stood up without blinking even once, and staggered over to his PC. He didn't sit down. Instead, he moved the mouse while standing up. The screensaver on his monitor disappeared and was replaced by his desktop. His expression, illuminated by the pale light of the monitor, was vacant and empty. His body trembled and shook from side to side. Drool pooled and fell from his mouth. Sweat, of course, pouring from every pore of his body. He looked exactly like the typical sleepwalker. You're a typical sleepwalker. You know the ones. Generic, the Hollywood version. He opened up his internet browser in a trance and went to the page for @Chan. His movements were slow and uneven, but there was no hesitation in his hands as he went directly for the news board's new gen threads. There were almost 60 in all, and Takumi opened every single one. His gaze was locked on the screen, and he was typing on the keyboard without looking down at it. He typed a message into each of the 60 threads. The messages he typed were short ones, and the same message was posted in every thread. Let me guess, whose eyes are those? Yeah. Name Shogun. Oh my god. It was him the whole time. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Wow. The next day I headed to the hospital. Last time, at the Hall of Justice, I hadn't been able to get the assurance I wanted, but today I was gonna make them tell me I was sane. Yeah, I think that would work. You go to the doctor's office and you start shaking the doctor like, tell me I'm sane! They might do it for you. I was going to have the doctor remember me. I was going to tell him that I was his patient until 4 years ago, and then I was going to have him listen to everything I had to say. I wasn't the crazy one. It was a demon girl in Misumi. I knew that's what he would tell me, because I am a dipshit. The hospital opened at 8, earlier than a lot of them. That's why I decided to come right on time. Only to find the lobby sofas packed with old people. God, the elderly and the 3D girls. Just awful. How? How could there be this many people here when it just opened? Had they all cheated and got here before it opened somehow? That's not fair. I was angry, but I didn't have any choice but to wait. It was after an hour of waiting that I realized I should have made an appointment. Could have helped. Very shortly after, they called my name, and I was relieved to see that I wouldn't have to wait as long as last time. But the doctor waiting for me in the exam room wasn't Dr. Takashina, but a white-haired old man I'd never seen before. Oh, I hope it's Dr. Takashina, but with white hair. That would be so fucking funny. The nurse standing behind him, Hazuki, I think, answered apologetically. He's dead. Yeah, that's like real though. Very common. Awful. No, my one ally. Wait, was it really overwork that made him collapse? What if it was the demon girl? It's a conspiracy. It's the demon girl. Oh, he's saying that out loud. Fuck. She must have poisoned his food or sent him a threatening letter to stress him out. It was the demon girl's doing. She was trying to isolate me. That checks out. I had no intention of letting anybody but Dr. Takashina talk to me, so instead of getting an exam, I fled from the hospital. Oh my god. This fucking guy. Yeah, I leaned up against the fence in the roof and looked up at the sky. Shibuya's sky was an ugly color. Ugh, blue. You should just stay away from everything. Don't go to the hospital, don't go to school, don't go to the convenience store, don't go to the train station. Just hang out in your storage container until you wither away and die. Maybe that detective I'd met yesterday was actually a fake and working for her. Maybe she'd used him to test me. I mean, the timing was just too good to be a coincidence. She'd showed up in my room right after the two of them had approached me. She was a demon, after all. She wasn't human. She could easily control somebody's mind. I didn't have any proof of this, of course, but I also didn't have any proof that she wasn't a demon. And that's just as good. So I just had to assume the worst if I was going to survive. Wasn't there anybody on my side? Who would want to be? You're so unapproachable and shitty. Everybody felt like my enemy. Everybody felt like they were working for the demon girl. Why didn't I have anybody on my side? Why was no one helping me? Why did this have to happen to me? How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes. I felt so lonely. Lonely, I'm Mr. Lonely. I want something to support me. Someone to protect me. Something to protect me. Anything, anybody who could offer me help. Oh no, the only one who can help you is a 3D girl. Suddenly I remembered those words. The sword. If this was a video game, the plot would probably involve me being a hero who needed to find a legendary sword to defeat a demon king. You are no hero, sir. Oddly enough, I'd heard the word sword from 2 3D girls lately. And there was still a chance that Fess was on my side. Girl B, Senna, I think was likely on the side of the demon girl from the way she'd acted, though. The sword. Sword. Get the sword. And then I whispered to myself as if I were in a trance. I was willing to cling to any hope now, no matter how small. If I could just get the sword, I would be released from this nightmare. I didn't know that for sure, but I had to hope. I didn't 100% believe Fess when she said it would bring me salvation, but I didn't have any other options. I decided to just look into it and see what I found by going into my storage container and Googling sword. First, I checked to see if there were any anime where characters had swords, like the ones Fess and Senna had, but I didn't find any. I'd mostly seen that coming. I always kept an eye on upcoming anime. I know all of them. There were 30 or 40 each season, so it was pretty hard, but I always watched the first episode of each series and then decided if I was going to continue it. I used to do that, and then I realized I hated it because there was so much crap. And of course, I could watch anything that was on satellite TV using YouTube. You better watch out when he strikes back. So there was no way I could have missed one. And I hadn't seen any anime with weird swords, especially ones with such a distinctive shape. I would have been sure to remember them if they'd showed up, and I didn't remember seeing anything like them at all. What if the characters got swords like that after the one episode that you watched? What then, bitch? Unless, of course, I'd been controlled by somebody else when I watched the show. Next, I decided to search for the swords themselves, not anime. Yeah. Those internet search results in 2008 sure are unreliable, huh? Some of the swords that came up in the results were ones I recognized well, like ESO's Shangri-La Edge. I wasn't getting anywhere. I needed to find that sword, and fast. I had a feeling that Senna girl had something more specific. What was it? Remember, or you'll be stuck in this nightmare forever. D sword. Right, the D sword. I searched for that word. And I got hits. Just 2, but these 2 links felt like the path that would save me. Desperately trying to calm my excitement, I decided to click on the top one first. Ooh, 404. Page you requested, not available. Shit, it was down. Damn it. Why did it have to be a dead link? Not a dead link. Ben drowned. No, I needed to calm down. I just had to go back and click on the cached version. Cached. I don't like that. I don't like that one. I don't like that word that was at the top. Some old legend. But it's not nearly as cool looking as the one the Senna girl had. Little physical form like wind spirits. Modern science has investigated the Kamaitachi phenomenon. Scientists now believe that it originated in a phenomenon seen in places with dry air, where a vacuum state is formed that can cut skin. As you do. We did it. Why did it have to be such a minor weapon anyway? Why couldn't it be Excalibur and the Blade of Kusanagi or something else big and famous? No, this wasn't the time to complain. Whether it was famous or not, it was going to save me. I didn't care. I decided to look into it a bit more. I tried the second link on the search page. Eventually we're going to get to Four Swords Adventures. The phrase, I bought a D-sword, stood out to me. Could you buy D-swords? The Daily Diary of a Masturbation Addict. Very good. The author was evidently a man, which meant it wasn't the demon girl or Senna. I bought a sword. It's called a D-sword, I heard. I just love how freaking weird it is. Town Vanguard is my heart's oasis. These days, you don't see many stores as weird as that place outside of Akihabara, but Akihabara's shops really aren't my style. It's either computer parts or prawns, like shrimp, with those guys. And that's not me, There used to be so many cool weird places in Shibuya, but they all disappeared as time went on. Either they were a different person entirely, or the person writing the blog was deliberately disguising their writing style. There was no way to tell from here, so I stopped reading. The store the page referred to, Town Vanguard, was evidently in Shibuya. Well, that's good. It felt like too much of a coincidence, or maybe I was just being paranoid, manipulated. Maybe the reason I'd run into two girls carrying D-swords in Shibuya was that the place selling them was here. That stands to reason. Weird things got popular with small subgroups of people here in Shibuya all the time, right? I searched for Town Vanguard, but I couldn't find the store's page. I did find a page with a map, so I downloaded it. If they didn't have a public page, they probably didn't have an online store either. I searched for the Taboo auction site too, but didn't find anything. I'd have to go to the store directly to see for myself. Ugh, walking to a store. I didn't really want to leave the house, but I need the sword. I need to get the sword. At this point, it felt like the one good option I had for fighting off the demon girl. Killing her with a sword. I didn't know what exactly I would do once I got the sword. I didn't have the courage to try and kill her with it or anything. I could just flash it and swing it around. Look kind of vaguely threatening. But something inside me made me think that if I got the sword, maybe I'd feel just a little less afraid. That was it. The D-sword was like a good luck charm. Something to keep me going. There was something strangely compelling about it. The store was somewhere near Cat Street, it looked like. Cat Street was a twisty street that ran alongside Meiji Street, the main connection between Shibuya and Harajuku. I'd heard once that it was originally a river that got filled in. There were a lot of theories as to why it was called Cat Street. Some said it was because there were a lot of strays there. Others said it was because the street was as narrow as a cat's forehead, a common expression in Japanese. Not that I cared either way. I don't know if that's necessary. We just assume he doesn't really care. Cat Street was a good distance from here. Not that I cared either way. It would take at least 15 to 20 minutes to get there. A bike would get me there faster, of course, but I didn't have one. Then why mention it? I didn't want to go near the station, so I opted to go through Shoto and cut across Miyashita Park. I walked a little fast across the bridge over Meiji Street. Phew, I was finally here. I was in such a hurry that I was starting to get frustrated at how long it was taking. Cat Street was, compared to Center Street, much quieter, and felt more like Harajuku than Shibuya. All the stores were selling osade clothes, the kind I'd never have any interest in. Dai sheeple. This game is very much 2008. I could tell I was out of place as I walked down the street, and I got more and more upset. This was totally outside my usual territory. There were a lot more couples than there were in Center Street. I could tell they were all window shopping. Lol. Trying to show off because they didn't actually have any money. Losers. You don't have any money, what the fuck? I almost regretted coming, but I choked those feelings down and told myself that I needed to get the sword. The audacity of this fucking guy to be as pitiful and shit as he is, judging everybody else around him. I walked as fast as I could, face glued to the map, trying to avoid making eye contact with the people around me as I headed to my destination. Town Vanguard was down a narrow side street off Cat Street. One step down a side street and the whole place felt very different. The alley was narrow, cramped, and dirty, much too small for a car to travel down. The buildings were all old, traditional wooden houses or empty stores with their shutters pulled down, and all the students had graffiti sprayed on them too. All the shutters, excuse me. You see, even if Cat Street looked fancy with its luxury brand storefronts, that was all just fake. This dingy alley was the real Cat Street. Behind the facade, it was nothing but garbage and rundown old buildings. Of course, I didn't like the backside any more than the facade. I wasn't any more at home here than on the main street. I only had one home, ESO. Boy. It was one of like the least likable main characters in any of the science adventure games. They have a pretty wide margin. This guy sucks. Excuse me. Gotta stretch. Stretch out. Town Vanguard turned out to be a smaller and gloomier shop than I'd expected. I could tell why the blogger who'd mentioned it called it an underground. There was a sign reading open, but it certainly didn't seem busy. Going inside felt really hard. It felt hard to go inside. I was too much of a wimp to go into a fast food place all by myself. How could I go into such a creepy looking place? Oh my god. Can't even order a burger without fucking freaking out. This guy. Oof. Survival. Chances of survival just decreasing. I wanted to go home. No, I needed the sword. What was I supposed to do? I went back and forth outside the shop for a while. There was absolutely no one else in the dark alley. I spent 30 minutes wandering around trying to muster up the courage to go in, and not a single soul came by. Many times I almost felt brave enough to go in, only to give up at the last second. But I couldn't give up and go home empty-handed. This was the only place I could get a D-sword. But my instincts weren't willing to let me go inside. I had a delusion where the shopkeeper came out to meet me. Of course, she was a cute maid, and she spoke to me in an anime voice. She knew exactly what I wanted, and offered me a D-sword with a friendly smile. She offered me a dick sword. Please take this sword, master. I could be such a horn dog sometimes. Everything would be so much easier if that happened, I told myself. And maybe my wish was heard by someone because a 3D girl did come out of the shop. Her outfit wasn't anything like I expected, though. It was some kind of ethnic... Oh, boy. Ethnic, huh? It looked flashy, but the girl herself seemed really gloomy. She had long hair done up in an afro. Oh, boy. Tied up in a bandana with a strange, eerie design on it. She said she'd gotten sick of watching me wander around outside her store, and so came out to check on me. My delusion hadn't become reality. Well, of course, that could never happen. Before I knew it, she dragged me inside of the store, despite my reluctance. She hadn't even had time to say... I didn't even have time to say no. Is she going to get a Sprite? I ended up inside. I'd overcome the first hurdle, at least. But what if this store was actually owned by the demon girl? And the whole dick sword thing was a plot to lure me here. I could be killed at any minute. Oh, obviously not. I would have loved for that to have happened to you. I looked around the dimly lit shop. There were no other customers. The air was stale, and there was a thin haze. It smelled like a mix of cigarette smoke and mold. 5 minutes in here, and I'd probably be ready to throw up. Yeah, unlike in your own storage container. I could see what looked like merchandise, but I couldn't tell if it was for sale or not. It was all placed randomly throughout the store, and to tell the truth, it might have all been garbage. Also, like your storage container. It certainly didn't have price tags on it. And I realized after I got inside, there were a lot of adult porno toys, too. There were things you saw in a lot of rape-style age games. I tried not to look at him, even though he's probably being like, "Fwah" in his own head. This place must have been some kind of adult knick-knack shop. Despite how eager she was to get me inside, once I was past the door, the woman quickly ignored me, sat down on her stool next to the register, and smoked a cigarette. So this haze was at least partly her fault then. I hadn't even been inside for a whole minute, but a combination of nervousness and embarrassment, as well as how sick I was feeling, was making me sweat. Just... Here we go again. I wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. Time to find the dick sword fast. I walked toward the back, looking at the shelves as I went. I quickly found the fantasy weapons corner that the blog I'd read had talked about. The one part of the store stood out from the rest. There were several toys lined up carefully in a display. The toys themselves all looked cheap. Actually, I realized they were mostly just different colored lightsabers. Some of them were so cheaply made that they were obviously fakes. Really? This place is selling fake lightsabers? No way! I'm not even sure they'd light up. The light-up shurikens that the blog had talked about were sold out, it seemed. That was kind of a surprise. But there was one thing mixed in with the lightsabers that was very clearly different from the others. Excalibur. Just one looked at it and I recognized it as a D-sword. It was just like the one I'd seen online. I picked it up. It was lighter than I'd expected. What was it made out of? Soft plastic? This was no blade. The edge was smooth. I ran my finger across it, and of course it didn't hurt at all. Compared to the ones that Senna and Fez had, it didn't have any weight or complex design, and certainly wasn't sharp. Maybe it was a fake. I was a little worried, but this was the only thing in the shop that could possibly be a D-sword. Did this even light up? The one Fez had been swinging around at the concert had some kind of glass embedded in the blade, which had lit up with a pale light. It was really, really cool. But there was no glass in the one I was holding. Maybe I should just give up on buying it. This D-sword was such a piece of junk that I was ready to give up, even after coming all the way here. But... yeah. I remembered Fez's words. Right. If I didn't buy it here, I wouldn't have any clue as to where to get another one. Maybe it just looked cheap, and when it recognized its rightful owner, it would suddenly transform into something with incredible power. Maybe I'd just seen too much anime and manga. But Senna and Fez both had D-swords that seemed to possess a strange strength. Maybe this sword would turn out to be the same. What should I do? As I stood there, uncertain, the clerk came up behind me. She grinned a gloomy smile and pointed at the D-sword. 10,000 yen, and I'll throw in a little bonus, she whispered. I was so stunned at how cheap it was that I couldn't believe my ears. I had some decent savings built up from my RMT business. The 10,000 yen was cheap enough that all I'd have to do was pass on buying a single figure. Let's see the changeover rate. I'm googling that right now. 10,000 yen to USD. 65 bucks. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all for a fucking shitbag sword. Why not? When I heard the price, and also that it was the last one the store had, I bought it immediately. The bonus was a cheap bangle bracelet. Total garbage. He's just walking back to his apartment. There's a storage container just swinging around like a fucking wand. The true nightmare began once I bought the sword. Town Vanguard didn't ship. You had to walk home with anything you bought. Even if it was a toy, the idea of carrying this huge sword across the middle of Shibuya was enough to quench any excitement I felt. Fuck you, man. You deserve all the embarrassment. You shit. I'd already paid, though, and the clerk steadfastly refused to return my money. This was going to be incredibly humiliating. Good. I had to walk down some of the most fashionable streets in Tokyo, holding a giant toy sword. Of course, the DQN couples and well-dressed ladies all chuckled at me as they walked by. Damn it, I wish they'd all die. I headed home, delusions filling my mind of me swinging the sword wildly and murdering everyone in the street. I think he might be the new gen madness murder man. I think it might have been him. He should just go to those cops and be like, I did it. Hey. Ha ha. I was finally home. I'd started running once I got close, and I was out of breath by the time I got up to the base. Yeah, walking around with a sword is not off-putting, but running with it. The cold gazes of the people I'd passed had really stung, because they just looked at him like, this guy. I don't know how Senna had managed to endure this humiliation. It was something I could respect, in a way. There was no way I could do it. Eh? Suddenly I heard a sound from the other side of the base. Was someone here? I froze and gasped. I remembered the smile I'd seen on the face of the demon girl who'd called herself Rebe. Oh, goodness, sorry. All this excitement buying swords just making me yawn. That's crazy. How could such a thing even happen? Maybe she'd come to kill me. Maybe she'd had. Maybe that would wake me up. What should I do? Run? Nah, just get killed. Bad end. Let's fucking go. I could sense the presence of someone in front of me. The setting sun cast someone's shadow on the ground. It was clearly the silhouette of a woman. Not a 3D girl. I quickly raised my D-sword. Holding it in my hands like this, I realized what a piece of crap it really was. The one Senna had held a strange power and intensity about it. Mine didn't seem to have anything like that. Maybe it was a fake after all. Could I really fight with this thing? Not a chance. Even if it was real, I still couldn't actually fight someone with it. Holding it in my hands felt weirdly heavy. Maybe I was holding it wrong? It didn't feel like something I could actually swing like a weapon. It's a sword. What do you mean? The shadow suddenly began to move. It was coming closer. Who's it going to be? Which one of the 3 characters in the game is it going to be? My guess is the little sister. I had the faint hope the sword could maybe, just maybe, help me. But then, nothing happened. My foe didn't say a word. Maybe the D-sword had annihilated the demon girl with a single swing. If so, that would be incredible. I called it. I told you it was going to be the little sister. There's only 4 characters in the whole game. I opened my eyes. Instead of the demon girl, I saw Nanami. That would have been a really great opportunity to put, instead of the demon girl, I saw a demon girl. Although I don't think that about her. He does. So it makes sense for him to say it. She was looking at me with contempt. Yeah, look at all that contempt. The tension drained from my body. I collapsed where I stood. This was just awful. She was an awful sister. What kind of awful sister likes to entertain herself by scaring her brother? Who the hell did she think she was anyway? This was why 3D girls would always be inferior to 2D ones. Yet weird to compare when talking about your sister. You know how you wouldn't have to constantly keep checking to see if he's alive? Kill him. Worry? She was worried about me? I refused to be fooled by such an obvious lie. Where did you go? He's just returned home with a fucking toy sword. Where do you think he went? He's at Dave & Buster's, obviously. I'd left the phone in the base. I knew nobody would call me, so there was no point in taking it. This, little sister Chan, is a D-sword. No, I found it in the gutter and took it. She was staring at the sword, looking a little confused. Well, that's a better feeling than the truth. Yeah, that's right. Get him. Drag him. I ignored Nanami and opened the padlock on my room, then tried to head inside. Yeah, go away. You know I'm alive. Go home. She was always making fun of me and did nothing but complain every time she came here. If she really hated it that much, then she should just leave. I certainly didn't want her here. I mean, that's kind of fair. Like, if you hate coming to visit me, just fuck off then. Oh, present. By all means, come in. She pouted at me. This is gonna be a bar of soap. She handed me some mandarin oranges, 10 or so, in a red net bag. Ooh, I like those. Those are quite good. It wasn't a great present. What a fucking ingrate. I'd eat mandarins if there were any lying around, but they weren't exactly a favorite of mine. Fucking useless mom, not giving me my favorite. Where's my chocolate cake? Yeah, thrilled. What was there to be happy about? Why would I want to eat oranges with my little sister anyway? She probably just wanted to eat some herself. She was always a big eater. She used to always eat my food, too. We got in fights about it all the time. Oddly specific thing to say. Nanami went inside the base, ignoring my protests. I had no choice but to follow. Again, the audacity of asking some of these questions. You know this man ain't got shit. There is no hot plate in here. You're lucky that you can walk inside it. Of course not. I only drink soda. Nanami sat down on the sofa and took out an orange. I sighed and set the D-sword up against my computer desk. I didn't need the bangle, so I tossed it off to a corner. Nanami quickly picked it up off the floor. Is it a kawaii bangle? I don't think so. Cute. How? It's just a cheap thing. Probably not worth more than 500 yen. Nanami just had terrible taste. I ignored her and took a seat at my desk, grabbing an orange as I did so. Oh, these aren't even my favorite. Oh, just fucking mowing down, though. Aww. Why is this a surprise? That's fair. It's not a present. It's just some junk you want. Yeah, Kyahu. She was certainly easy to please. As soon as I gave the okay, she quickly put the bangle on her arm. Such a cheap little sister, enjoying such a cheap gift. I fucking hate this guy. Yeah, why would you ask that question? I gave her a present, right? So why was she treating me like this? What kind of little sister calls her brother a jerk? The kind that has a jerk for an older brother. Where did she learn to do that? Go play 100 H games and learn how to be... Ugh. I hate this guy. Yeah, call him a baka. Just lay it on there. She was smiling too. I was getting really angry. Yeah, it came free with the fucking... She threw it in with the check. Whatever. Nobody asked you to. I didn't even buy it for you. Don't get in my way. Suddenly she looked upset. Fair cop. Hey, you ain't getting no tea. Come on now. You think there's any tea in this place? She glared at me, shoulders heaving with rage. Eventually her eyes started to tear up. Let me guess what she will say. Onino baka? Hmm? Uh-huh. There it is. What a zinger. Baka. Her high-pitched yell echoed through the room as she grabbed her bag and flew out the door with incredible speed. Phew, at least the storm was finally over. Every time I talked to Nanami, I felt exhausted. Why did she keep coming when she knew how much I didn't like it? Read the room. A first melt? Is that a sandwich? The GE rate, General Electric? Biorhythm. Is that like a Guitar Hero? Oh, Shibuya's got some GE rate too. That's good. A stable GE. That's excellent. GEs are easier to manipulate. Yeah, you can't get them Samsung ones. You can't do anything about it. Oh, yeah. Satisfying reports. I live for those. Oh, there's that mindset. Of course you'll succeed. We gave you shitloads of money and humans. Oh no, my church. Oh great. Ugh. It's a Scientology thing, I'm sure of it. Project Noah. Oh, that makes sense. So why would they call it that? Because that's the name of the title of the game. What about the code sample? The anonymous code sample? That's not for another few years. You need a minimum of 5. 5 chaos. Emeralds. Then you're too short, because there's 7 of them, aren't there? Sample holders are steadily gathering. Dude, that looks like that dude with the white hair on the right there. He looks like Captain Morgan from One Piece if instead of his metal jaw it was a beard. Oh, the divine light. The utmost caution for the divine light. Fucking Destiny 2 style. Let's go. Oh, good. He's aware. Phew. Oh, he bit back a yawn, looked over at his PC block. It was showing 5 a.m. I'd spent the whole night grinding in ESO and hadn't gotten the rare item I wanted. Oh, wow. Life just not worth living, I guess. 8 hours of work and nothing. Well, it happened a lot. Man, I feel that. I looked over to the side of my computer desk. The D-sword I'd bought yesterday was still there. It was close enough that I could grab it at any time. It hadn't glowed at all, for what it was worth. I was hoping that at some point it would transform into an awesome weapon like the one Senna had. On the monitor, Grimm's avatar had just leveled up. My Nightheart was at max level, so he wouldn't level up again. Thank you for clarifying. As I rubbed my tired eyes, I wondered if it was time to make a third character after Lies-a-Lot. I found myself thinking about experience points. They were something you saw a lot in video games, but the way I saw it, there were experience points in the real world too. When I'd started ESO, I'd been a completely clueless newbie, but now I was Wastelard's famous lightning-fast Nightheart, the game's ultimate warrior. Skronk. The spaceship and the rocket fuel. So, for instance, was it possible that some of the person inside me's experience points had been reset somehow? Huh? Maybe that's why I'd forgotten things that I should have known. Maybe that's where the weird inconsistencies in my memories had come from. I am a computer and I got reset. Like with Shogun or the Demon Girl. Before I'd lost my experience points, I, that is, the person inside me, had used the nickname Shogun in chat. Maybe the demon girl, Rimi, had been a big part of my life too, and I wasn't a friendless otaku. No, I think you're a friendless otaku. You show all the signs. No, it was going too far. But maybe before, I'd had some kind of incredible power that would have let me fight the demon girl. I wondered if I was the only person who could come up with an idea like this. Not that it really seemed that strange to me. Humans could only ever judge things by standards they created for themselves. Did that mean it was possible that I, and not just me, but everybody else in the world, was wrong about everything? When I was little, I'd gone to the dentist and they'd said to me, "You did a great job not crying when it hurts so much." Back then, I felt kind of proud for enduring the pain, like I'd done something special. But looking back, they were probably judging how much pain I was in by looking at how bad the cavity was. But maybe the same level of pain was really bad for some people, and not so much for others. Maybe the way people felt things or sensed things was totally different. Yeah. Take giving birth, for instance. I thought he was going to say I'd seen a lot of people do it. I was like, what? I'd seen a lot of people online, for instance, saying that women could handle the pain, but men couldn't. Yeah. Imagine a human person popping out of the end of your cock like a fucking trick cigar. Oh, it hurt. Or what about marathon runners? Maybe what made them special wasn't their stamina, but the way they could endure pain. Or their stamina. Maybe take some ass and ham. Some people enjoyed receiving pain and some people enjoyed giving it. Wow, what a fucking... God, what a generalization. I mean, that's part of it, but a little more complicated than that. Maybe everybody had different ways of experiencing their senses and different levels that they could endure. Maybe the toothaches and headaches that I sometimes had to put up with were a level of pain beyond what an ordinary person could handle. On the same level of some fucking bondage, apparently. And if I could pass that pain to them somehow, they'd die on the spot from shock. All this speculation left me with the selfish delusion that I was somehow special. You ain't. So I'm special, huh? Nah, no way. I denied it, but I'm sure it was a delusion everybody shared. Every man wants to be the strongest in the world. Everybody wants to think they're special. Chosen. They want to believe a dramatic future filled with adventures is waiting for them, like on TV or in the movies. I don't want that shit. I watch movies and be like, fuck that. Nope. I don't want nothing to do with any of it. The desire to be a hero, I guess you could call it. It was childish, really. Of course, I had that same desire. Maybe it was my destiny in real life to defeat the demon girl. Of course, if someone actually told me to do it, I'd have several conditions. I'd need cheat codes, obviously, like God mode for one thing, or invincibility. I don't want to be scared or get hurt. No clip might help. If I couldn't have that, in other words, if I had to do it right now, I would absolutely refuse, because that's usually how adventure works. There is the refusal, but then there's like the call to action, the hero cycle. Which meant that if the person inside me's experience points had been reset, I might be at a big disadvantage. Well, that would be the lowest point in the hero's journey. So, I'm definitely feeling we're at a real low point right now. And we go back to school. I was almost late today. Oh no. Takumi Nishijo, non-punctual? Maybe staying up till dawn to play games before school day was a mistake. Maybe. I had to run to make it in time. When I arrived outside my classroom, I paused to catch my breath. I didn't want to do anything to attract attention from my classmates. Being late was a potentially fatal mistake. If any DQNs took an interest in me, my life was over. Hey, I noticed you were 5 minutes late. You want to join my gang? I slowly walked into the classroom. My head was pointed toward the ground, and I avoided looking at it. Wait a minute, he says coming in late might garner the attention of the DQNs, but coming twice a week doesn't? Like, you're never there. I think showing up at all is more of a way for them to notice you. Shithead. Of course, I didn't give anyone a cheery good morning. I tried to make myself as invisible as possible as I headed from my seat. That was how I always did things. Like usual, I reached my seat without any issues and sat down. No, you know who's about to come and fucking jump in on his ass. It's gonna be Rimi Sakihara. I quickly put my head down on the desk. Now I'd be safe for the rest of homeroom. Or so I thought. It was lightly tapped on the back. Oh no, I thought it was gonna be Rimi, but it was Misumi. 3 whole times, oh my god. Misumi again. I sighed, but it wouldn't be right to ignore him. I began to raise my head, and stopped. Was this Misumi really Misumi? 2 days ago I'd called him like the demon girl had told me to, but something had been very wrong. He'd acted like the demon girl was in our class. That was impossible. Maybe the demon girl had brainwashed him, or maybe he'd become somebody else entirely. Maybe he was a demon boy now. You can never tell. Oh my god, his phone's ringing in class. Sorry, teach, I gotta take this. What kind of idiot would call me at a time like this? And why was it playing the ringtone when I'd set it to vibrate? Maybe I'd messed up the settings. I know that. Should I answer now? But if I did, Misumi would know that I wasn't asleep, and I didn't like answering the phone anyway. If I didn't answer, though, it would annoy the rest of the class. Having my phone's ringtone drown out the rest of the classroom was bad. I needed to stay invisible. This was really bad. But now I'd missed my chance. I couldn't move. Suddenly the sound of vibration stopped. It must have gone to voicemail. I let out a sigh of relief, being careful not to let Misumi hear me. I was glad I'd learned how to set up voicemail. No fucking way, dude. This guy didn't even know how to talk on the phone. He knows how to adjust its settings and set up voicemail. Ain't no fucking shot. Gah, shut up. I'm already attracting too much attention because of the phone call. Please just leave me alone. Was Misumi always this annoying? He was always too friendly, but he hadn't always been this annoying, right? Oh no, that was a girl. That voice, it was coming from inside the house. Right next to Misumi, too. Oh no, Daichin. She was in this classroom acting like she belonged here. An enemy to women everywhere. And that's why we're friends. She was talking like she belonged here. She was fitting in like she belonged here. I was too scared to look up. I didn't want to admit that girl was here. Man, this is my favorite part of games when it's all black screen, white text. Oh, I love it. I do it in my visual novel, by the way. Not for extended periods like this, but it does crop up. Yeah, he don't have a girlfriend. You ain't gotta worry about that. Ain't nobody spending their time with this fucking clown. Had the demon girl really always been my classmate? No, that was impossible. It's impossible. She wasn't here 2 days ago. Misumi was the only one who talked to me that day and hadn't come yesterday. Dude, you show up twice a week. Now she was here today. How had she wormed her way in? Yeah, transfer student. That happens all the time. My god, you're supposed to be an otaku. You not know how this shit works? Fuck. As the homeroom chime rang, everybody headed back to their seats. I fearfully looked up, trying to see as much as I could without moving my head. I wanted that voice to be a hallucination, and for that to happen, I needed to prove she wasn't in this room. Brown hair, black hair, more... I guess that's more brown. They're brown, black. Oh my god. You know, as much as I love beer, I hate how it makes me burp. My seat was in the 5th row. There were 9 rows in all. She wasn't in the seats in front of me. Is that going to be the twist? Takumi Nishijo doesn't have object permanence? Did that mean she was behind me? I didn't look back. I couldn't do something that would attract so much attention. Damn it. This was so frustrating. Was she in the room or wasn't she? I didn't feel the prickling on my neck. Nobody was looking at me. I couldn't sense anybody's gaze. Was she here? Was she not here? Which? I stared down at my desk, trying to see if I could sense her somehow. Yeah, I used to do that with my girlfriend in high school because we used to be in the same class, and I would just be like, is she here? Is she here? Is she here? I can't sense behind me. Idiotic. I forgot their name. It was Tsukaji or Tsukada or something, I think. It was the phys ed teacher, and he was a huge meathead, but he didn't yell or do any physical punishment either. If anything, he was the kind of teacher who could take a joke. There was a mild murmur of surprise going up and down the classroom, but I was too busy thinking about the demon girl to worry about it. How the hell was I supposed to sense anybody? This wasn't a manga? Was I just stupid? Probably. Oh fuck, transfer student. Is it gonna be Fez or one of the other? Is it Yua? I mean, there's only 4 characters in this whole fucking game. Orihara. That's a new name, actually. I couldn't hear the transfer student's voice. Was she really here? I took a quick glance at the front of the room. Oh no, it's another 3D girl. Are you sure that's not Nanami? Sure enough, there was a girl there. She's really tiny. She might have been smaller than Nanami. She looked kind of weak and timid in a moe sort of way. I hate this dude. She was pretty cute for a 3D girl. Like, this fucking jackass, does he not know that 2D girls are based on 3D girls? Shithead, I hate this guy. For some reason, there were tears in her eyes and she was looking down. Yeah, she's not... There's no Yoroshiku in her. She's not excited to meet anybody. She about to be the baby girl version of Takumi Nishijo. The class started to murmur louder as it became clear that the transfer student wasn't going to say a word. The teacher gave her a reassuring pat on the shoulder. Actually, the girl version of Takumi Nishijo is actually Frau in robotics notes. Yeah, you think she's nervous? Kozue Orihara. Oh my god, this is the mousiest voice. The transfer student bowed silently and started to walk toward me. Pull out a sword, just right, get him, right in the drive-by style, let's go. I'd stand out a lot. Some DQN might see me and say, don't stare at the transfer student just because she's cute. Then they try and beat me up. Oh, please, if only. What should I do, turn around or wait until homeroom ended? My head drooped as I squeezed my fists tightly. It was no good. I didn't have the courage. To do what? I missed it. I was too busy roasting. If I turned around and saw the girl... Oh, he was looking to see... Sakihara. I could hear her speak. The transfer student passed by me. Huh? The next thing I knew, I was looking up. The transfer student stopped for just a single moment as she walked by my desk, but she didn't look toward me. She was holding what looked like a giant iron plate. Bah? I blinked, and it was gone. What was that? Was I seeing things? I'm glad we're in the same class. I'm not. She quickly passed by my desk. Was she talking to me? Why was she suddenly talking to me? Why are women interested in me? I suck. Like me. I'm glad we're in the same class. Had we even met before? No, I didn't remember her face at all. I'm so good with names and faces. There was nothing in my past involving long-forgotten childhood friend either. Nothing out of an H game. Ugh. Maybe I was finally starting to get popular. Ew. Or was the transfer student with the demon girl? If so, the net was closing in even tighter. It would get harder and harder to run away. Oh my god, everybody teleported. Oh, fuck.